now I've started my Accutane. I do remember they come in these little bubble packets, and I'm very type A, and so I know we talked in the doctor's office, but then I read the instructions and it said to take two, so I took two. And then I don't know, I did some math, and like 3 days into it, I called the doctor. I said, "Hey, I'm not actually gonna have enough to get through the month." And she said, "Oh, you're only supposed to be taking one." So I was overdosing myself, because what they do is the directions that were provided were not what the doctor wanted me to do. So I was to take one pill a day. I can't remember the exact milligram dosage or whatnot, but I was going to take one pill a day. And she recommended that I take it at night for whatever reason, in case it upset my stomach, things like that. So I would take it at night. And then that was going to be the whole first month. And then we were going to see how my levels were, how I was reacting, and then we would keep bumping the dose up. Because how this medication works, right, is it is increasing like the vitamin A in your body. And so to like almost unhealthy levels. And so they don't want to just shock your body and have you take like the full dose. And so they move you up. So that first month, I accidentally took too much the first few days. No big deal, they said. But I felt the effects immediately. And I thought it was because I felt the effects immediately because I was taking two pills instead of one. But it kind of shows, or it sounds like other people had the same experience just by taking like the small dose. So you immediately feel that. You get very dry, you get very thirsty. For me, it was joint pain. That was my biggest takeaway. Like, I am on a medication, I can tell immediately. So, first month, again, I don't know that it necessarily did anything for my face the first month because my face was doing pretty good, but I definitely could feel the effects. As it relates to my skin texture, though, my pores just disappeared. I had no pores, they were gone, like immediately. And I kind of loved that, of course. So it did change the texture of my skin almost immediately. I did drink a ton of water though, because I was just so thirsty. But it was really the biggest takeaway. Month one was joint pain. So went in for my 1 month checkup. They do your lab work, pregnancy test, all that, and then ask you like how you're doing. And I mean, I wasn't doing great, but I wasn't doing bad. And so they upped my dose and said, okay, well, now you're going to take two pills. And we did that. And month two, I remember, if you go look at my shorts, there'll be some memories on there as well, but it was awful. I was taking two pills every night before bed, and I was waking up in pain. The joint pain was the worst. Again, skin texture was phenomenal, like so clean and clear. I didn't have any new breakouts, nothing like that. So fast forward to, I remember like the third month, and that's also documented on my shorts. But come the third month, it was to the point where I couldn't work out, which I was a big fitness gal, so that hurt me. I remember I would cry because I just was in pain. My hands hurt, like I couldn't write. It hurt to be on my phone, just those everyday little things. But other than that, I was pretty much doing fine. So she had recommended to take one in the morning after I eat, and then one at night. So let's break the dosage up because maybe it won't hit me as hard. So I remember we did that. I don't know that I really felt an effect of that. But at some point in the journey, this is where it gets kind of messy, because this is the point where I'm wondering, is it even worth it? Like, do I even want to continue down this path? Because my face is fine, and they're pushing, saying, no, we need to get the levels in your body up to a certain point, or this is all pointless. And I didn't want to continue, but they actually did give me a steroid to take home, to take with it, to kind of help alleviate some of that joint pain. That was pretty far into the process though. I want to say we're like going on to like past 6 months, to the point where I'm ready to quit because I'm so miserable. And I remember saying I would never do this again, because I had gained some weight, and I wasn't feeling good about my body or myself. And I had a couple little breakouts, but it was almost like when my breakout would start, it would literally start finishing like within like 2 days. It would be like healing. So my breakouts were like in and out, in and out, in and out. So that whole purge thing that people talk about, where it gets better before it gets worse, I never really experienced that with my acne, because I think my purge was right when I went on it. That was the purge. So anyway, when she prescribed that steroid for me to take, it was a pretty low dose too. It like within like 2 days, my joint pain was like fixed, which I realized it wasn't, but I couldn't feel any pain, and I was just like, this is way better. So I could work out again. At that point, I actually started a mental fitness challenge or program, 75 hard. And so I could work out twice a day. I went on a lot of walks. I was drinking a gallon of water a day, which obviously really helps with Accutane. I also couldn't drink alcohol, which you can't drink alcohol in Accutane anyway. It's not good for you. One of the labs that they have to do every month while you're on Accutane is monitor your liver. So drinking obviously isn't going to do you any favors there. So we are to the point where we are in like month 11, give or take, and I'm about to be done. I'm ready to be done. I actually remember saying that because the steroid did make me gain a little bit of weight as well, like retain water, and I didn't like that. And it made me a little moody, of course. But I was like, okay, I've been on Accutane long enough. I should be like done now. And she said, well, we need your levels to be like here and you're like right here. So if you quit now, it might all be for nothing, right? And so I was like, okay, we'll push through one more time. So but that's why it's like 13 months. I think we went like 2 months out from what we were supposed to on the original plan. And we did it. We finished. My skin wasn't perfect at the end, but it just looked like normal skin, so I was cool with it. And I remember it was really bittersweet, that last appointment. They took before and after photos, which is like wild. However, I will say my before photo was like when the purge happened. So it was like at my worst, and that had never happened after that point. So I don't know like how much of a before and after it really was, because I don't think the Accutane fixed my before that purge. I think it was the steroid that calmed it down initially. So anyway, we get through that. Key takeaways during the process, like I said, joint pain is real. I do think to this day, it's a little, I don't know, my hands are weaker than they used to be. But I am back like in a fitness routine. I do feel strong at moments. And then another side effect that is real is when I go to the eye doctor, she likes to talk to me about like the glands in my eyes. You know how they take those cool little like camera photos of the back of your eyes and whatnot. I guess the glands back there have completely changed shape. And that's probably because of the Accutane, because of all the oils it pulled out and things like that. And it doesn't bother me, but she said that like she thought it would have, looking at the picture. She's like, oh, your eyes really dry all the time and stuff. And I said, no, my eyes are fine. But I mean, you can typically see like the before and after of my photos of the back of my eyes, that they have completely changed shape. So that is a side effect, I guess, that I didn't know. It could potentially dry your eyes out for the rest of your life. It's kind of irreversible, I would think. Don't quote me on that. So that happened. And yeah, I know during the process, it was Aquaphor, Aquaphor, Aquaphor. I was obsessed with Aquaphor. I bought so much. I should have invested in it. I still have a lot to this day, and I love it. But I would just slather Aquaphor all over me, because you do get really, really dry. And it's not just your face, it's your whole body. So you definitely want to moisturize every which way that you can, because it's just depleting all of that out of your skin. Sun sensitivity. So that summer, the summer of 2023, 2024, 2024, it sucked because I couldn't be out in the sun. It was 2023. Like I had to wear a hat. I love getting a tan. I wasn't allowed to tan. And I will tell you this, I didn't believe them. And we went on like one float trip, and I did protect myself. I wore a big hat and I wore sunscreen, and I burned so quick. I was red as a lobster, and that's not me. I have pretty thick skin in that sense. So it is true, when you are on Accutane, you are very, very sensitive to the sun and it will hurt. So don't do that. So again, the process was basically, every month I'd have to physically go to the doctor and check in with her. They would do lab work before that appointment, just to see where my levels were at. And then also I'd have to, I think they just did the pregnancy test with the blood work most of the time, just to verify that you were not pregnant. And then you would have to sign the I pledge thing. But the appointments were usually pretty quick in the office, maybe 15 minutes. And you have to go every single month to get your medication. And then, like I had mentioned previously, there is a window. You have to go pick up and pay for your medication for the whole month, within so many days of doing your I pledge.